Hambro Colts is actually a disability team as well.
Yeah.
Tom Wood and also Lee Godsafe actually play for the Hambro Colts. So you know what? Yeah, big ups to those. Not only those playing football, but those of less. I feel kind of bad saying less ability, differing abilities. In terms of playing football.
And you know what? On that note, shout out to Sahil Raymond as well. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Our next Pitch Talk Meets guest who's going to be sitting down with us in April. So get your questions in. Sahil Raymond, we had the we had a Pitch Talk push point about Sahil Raymond, and it was one of them. It was highly inspirational.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, I know Jamie Bailey was personally inspired as well. So
you know, and I have to say, teams like the Hambro Colts and obviously Bradford City, the disability team as well, doing fantastic stuff in the community. And for me, right, this is what football is really about. Forget about the glitz, forget about the glamour, forget about getting paid £300,000 a week. Yeah, let all of that go. It's about bringing people in the area together. For a common cause.
Community. That's what's been lost in football. Sad.
This is it. And right about now, even in life in general, not to get too philosophical, but that's, community doesn't really exist anymore. So to see, organizations like these and individuals like these bringing community back and putting the unity in community, I'm like, you know what? More power to it.
No, exactly. I mean, that's why we were so proud to have to have Samir Sawney with what he's doing with Motivate Sports and Fitness. Community. Is so important.
This is it. And putting the unity back in community.
Yeah, I mean, John Sitton's talked about it as well, about the youth being a betrayed generation, and basically the community aspect has just disappeared, completely disappeared. So it's one of them ones, man.
Just shining further light on Bradford right there, because it just shows it what it means to certain people. Like that case study with Nick. He actually said he didn't want to play football when he was younger because he was scared. Then he obviously joins the whole platform what Bradford's put on, meeting other people in the same sort of situation, like you said, going back to the community thing. And, that's what it's there, and that's what it does, and that's how it helps people. It's adding a platform that wasn't there before. It's great.
I mean, Tom Wood, you wanted to jump in as well, because being a Hambro Colts player, you want to jump in, have it?
Yeah, like some of the players on our team, there's one of our players who's got cerebral palsy, and one of them's deaf, so it's a bit hard to communicate with the people who's deaf in our team.
Yeah. I mean, how do you communicate on the football pitch? How do you communicate with someone who's deaf on the football pitch? And
he's only deaf in one ear, so he can hear you partially. He's partially deaf in one ear, so he's got a hearing aid on. But it's really hard. You have to shout at him, but not in a horrible way.
Yeah, I was just saying in a malicious way. Yeah.
Or talk face to face with them.
Yeah.
So they can understand them, but.
Yeah. It's one of them. I want to ask you actually. Hambro Colts being a disability team, how important do you think disability sides are to the local community down in Southend? How important is a team like Hambro Colts down there?
It's different, really. To seeing other teams play, because you get some players who haven't got worse disabilities, and some of them are bad.
Yeah. I mean, how much does it mean to the community for those teams to not only survive but build and get bigger? I mean, how much does it mean to the people around the club, around the community, that there are teams, that there are disability teams out there?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think we're the only team I've seen that were disabilities down this way. That's all I've seen.
Yeah. So I guess it's one of them ones. If you're one of the only ones, then that must mean quite a lot to the community then.
Yeah, we are looking to find other teams to play around the country. Not around the country, but around this area. But it's hard getting them to come down. It's because of the travel and all that. Yeah. We're trying to, hopefully I'm going to try and have a word with my manager and see if he can arrange a friendly with Chelsea, because they've got a disability team.
Yeah.
And they're apparently a really good side, even though they've got severe disabilities. They're meant to be really, really good.
No, you know what? Look, keep us posted in terms of progress on that, because that'd be very interesting to see if that happens and know what's happening. If we know ahead of time, hey, there's a pitch talk on the road.
Yeah,
may do a pitch talk on the road. May be able to. So,
but going back to your point, I think clubs like this, they're absolutely massive for the community. I mean, it goes without saying. There would be youngsters out there, living with disabilities or differing abilities, as we like to say.
Yeah.
Who probably dream of playing football, who think, well, because of my different abilities, I can't, or I shouldn't, or I won't.
Yeah.
And the mere fact that these teams are there providing the services that they are, that's the difference between someone of different abilities chasing a dream and playing football, or not. And when you think about it in terms of a young person's hopes and dreams, that's absolutely massive, massive. So, more power to it. And I say that, I hope that there'll be more teams across the country, scratch that, across the world. Maybe we can have a Disabilities Teams World Cup one day.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the Paralympic Games, why not? And that kind of thing, so why not? It's one of them. Alright. I said, man, cannot wait for Sahel Raymond's pitch talk.
No, very much looking forward to that.
That's got to be very, very interesting. I mean, Tom Wood. I want to ask you actually, Tom Wood, if you don't mind, it's totally up to you.
I don't mind.
If you you actually have a disability yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I've got Miles Carpenter syndrome.
Would you like to explain to us what Miles Carpenter syndrome actually is?
It's basically a bit like ADHD and autism mixed together, sort of.
Okay.
Like, basically, I can't concentrate properly.
Yeah.
I can get easily distracted. It's quite hard though. So when I was at school, I used to get bullied for it as well.
I mean, you know what? Does it make? I mean, how does it make life more difficult in general, or is it just more education? Or is it just more kind of
educational, to be honest?
Yeah. So it only makes kind of like trying to focus in school difficult rather than life in general.
Yeah, like it's not hard. Like I can work around it, but it's just the concentration problems. Like I can even get distracted when I'm at training. Like the manager talking to us all. Somebody can start talking to me, and then I'm the one who gets the bollocking for it.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, no, I can't blame him. But no, man.
With Lee's disability, he's got a severe disability. Like he's got when he talks, his speech is he's got like sort of dyslexia. He's got that, so he can't pronounce some words.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard for some people.
Yeah. No,
but it's quite upsetting, even though I've got a disability. It's upsetting to see what other kids have got, like even severe disabilities, like cerebral palsy. Some of them are in a wheelchair and they can't they have to use a Zimmer frame to pull themselves along. So I've seen that when I've seen a youth tournament down at my where I train. There was a tournament and this kid couldn't walk properly, had to use a Zimmer frame to pull himself along.
Yeah.
And that's quite upsetting to see as well.
No, definitely, man. I mean, especially as some people are born with their disabilities, some disabilities develop over a number of years. Like our next Pitch Talk Meets guest, Sahel Raymond has quite a severe disability, and that developed over I think it was over a year, over a number of years. So
yeah, I was also born with club foot, and that's quite bad as well. And my foot was twisted right round when I was younger. It took about two operations to have it sorted. Because my mum, basically my foot got stuck under my mum's rib when I was born, and that yanked me out.
Bloody hell!
So it was quite bad though, but it's alright now. Now I've had the operation, still got the scarring from it from when I was 12. So
yeah.
But the funny thing is, when I was a baby, when my mum used to bath me, she had to put instead of putting a plastic bag around it, she put a condom around it.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
That's quality stuff.
I've still got the cast from when I was a baby though, like the little baby bandaging went round on my foot when I was younger though.
Yeah.
So it was quite something to remember.
You say you ain't still got that condom, have you?
No, I'll get rid of that. That's the only reason we used to bath me though.
Oh, that's good. That is good.
Yeah. But
Let's keep them safe in the bath, yo.
Yeah, definitely.
I just put one on my foot now, it's alright now. My foot, it might not fit on my foot, it might split.
Hey, that's the one thing you don't want is a condom splitting, because I told her they ain't my baby. But I mean, Big T also wanted to jump in on this point as well. I mean, Big T, you wanted to jump in too, right?
Yeah, it's just I was listening to what you're saying about disability now, and I know it's not really anything to do with football, but I think in society people tend to mock what they can see instead of seeing what's behind the person who you are. I mean, like Tom was saying, I was quite touched with what he was, and I'm being serious now for once, but listening to Tom and just understanding that, you know, there's people out there who have so many different conditions and not many people can see it, and you are subjected to bullying, and I can understand exactly where Tom and Russ and other people are coming on. I mean, like I'm saying, I've got a form of autism, which isn't exactly called that, it's Asperger's, but it's something you can't see, and people think it's using as an excuse, but there's nothing different about it. I mean, I'm just like you. I'm just like everybody who's listening here. I mean, everybody's the same. We're just shown in a different light. Do you see what I'm saying? It's everybody's different at the end of the day. I mean, people in society, I mean, as you were saying, they just tend to get judged based on just what they look like. I mean, I could bring other things into it, but it's just a case of that people just rush into things and they don't understand. And what Tom was saying, it's just, like you say, Liam, I'm going to quote you on this, it's one of those ones people just don't understand. And I think, like what Tom was saying, it's made me open my eyes a bit. And yeah, I think in football, going back to that, it's just like we see people who, like, for example, are coming out as gay and again, you know, prejudiced about it. Do you see what I'm saying? They get called and labelled these horrible, horrific names that at the end of the day they don't deserve. If it's their right to be homosexual, let them get on with it. End of the day, you can't change a person. If a person's born with a disability, if a person chooses to be homosexual, let them do it. At the end of the day, it's their own life. If you believe you've only got one life to live, I don't, but if you do, then you live it the way you want to. So I just think that people who are listening and in society need to understand that we're all the same no matter what gender, race, disability, nationality, whatever it is. We are all the same and we should all treat each other in the same light. So, I mean, that's just my view on it anyway.
I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, I think Big T, you got it spot on. I mean, it's one of them. It's one of them ones. Yeah, we all are different. And in some ways, we are the same because we're the tag team champions of the world of being wrong'uns. It's one of those. So it's like,
how did I know that one was coming? I knew it.
No, but you make a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all on this dismal berg together. So we may as well enjoy it while we're here, which is why Pitch Talk is so brilliant. But I mean, Russ Vernon wanted to jump in. You wanted to jump in as well, didn't you, before we move on?
Yeah, because when I was actually born at 5-week-old, I had to have a heart operation. I've only got one lung that works. That's why I was in hospital last week, because my right lung didn't work properly, closed up. And when I was born, I had 2 holes in my heart, had a major heart operation, and that's why sometimes on the show when I'm speaking, I get a bit out of breath, and sometimes need to have my inhalers, which I went and had just around about 10 o'clock this evening, which I need to have every night, morning and night, my inhalers, and during the afternoon as well. And that's why I ended up in hospital last week. I had a really bad infection on my left lung, which only works because I've got a aplastic right lung, and I like I said, I had 2 holes in my heart when I was born. Managed to close one of them up, I still got one now, and sometimes when I'm just walking up the hill to my nans and my aunties, I get a bit out of breath, and that's it. But as soon as I've sat down for like 10 to 15 minutes, I'm okay again. But if I walk for miles, I have to take a sit down and have a breath. And I did a sponsored walk with college last year, and I managed to just walk all the way. Didn't have to stop. Didn't stop once, and I raised quite a lot of money for the Fall Behind the Moor Sanctuary. I think I mentioned it on the show the Monday after I did it, and we raised quite a lot of money for them. And so I've had a bit of a problem and that, but touch wood. Apart from last Monday, that was the first time I've been in hospital in about, I think it was 10 years.
One of them ones, man. That's some serious stuff, right? And at the end of the day, at least it's one of them. At least it's one of them ones where at least Russ is not letting it stop him doing what he wants to do. Obviously, Russ loves football, so it fortunately doesn't stop Russ watching it, commenting on it, being here with us on Mondays, giving his views. It's one of them ones. This is the importance. This is the importance of football in all seriousness. The fact that it can bring people together, bring communities together.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
We're in London. You got Russ who's up in Leeds area. You got Big T who's up in Nottingham area. You got Mike and Wayne who are in Stevenage area. You got Tom Wood who's in Southend, and it's one of them ones. It just brings people together. We got Section 357 show who are based in the States. We got Thin White Line magazine who are based in Australia, and we've connected with them.
Don't forget Johnny Sykes.
Exactly, Johnny Sykes stateside as well. Umbreen in Ireland.
And yes, as well, over in Ghana.
There we go. So,
Black stars keep shining.
Yeah, so many. Myra, aka Redales on Twitter, who are based in Ghana.
Jamaica.
Yeah, there we go. So there's so much, so many people connected. Not even just in the same city, but hey, in the same planet.
That's it. We're worldwide, baby.
Yeah. Season,
worldwide,
baby.
wide.
Wayne Schumann, you wanted to jump in before we move on.
Yeah, just wanted to say, obviously I've been listening to people's stories and that, but I've been really touched by what everyone's saying. Because when I was growing up, I haven't had anything as serious as that, but I had learning difficulties when I was growing up at school.
Yeah.
But coming off the subject of football, as you know, Mike, and a lot of people know, I do music. And I always found, no matter how bad my learning difficulties were, music was another community that brought everyone together. And everyone was getting together, even if they had problems or anything like that at school. So music was like bringing everyone together, as well as football was as well. So, just not saying just football, like music, things like that. When people look at it and then see that people are doing positive things in football, music, whatever, it definitely does bring communities together, 100%. And I'm all for it,
Yeah.
All for it.
I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, it's a case of. That's why us. It's a case of like we personally don't have any disabilities, or at least not that I know of. But it's one of them ones. At the end of the day, to be able to empathise with someone. Not even sympathise, because that's almost kind of the wrong word. It sounds like pity, and you don't need to pity anyone. But the fact of the matter is that what we're doing with stuff like Pitch Talk on the Road, Pitch Talk Meets, we want to highlight the people doing positive stuff. And for me, I think that's why, as much as we've had some we've had great Pitch Talk Meets interviews. We've had a lot of really good ones that we've enjoyed, but I think Sohail Raymond's interview might be an extremely important one.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely historic. There's no two ways about it. But at the same time, as we were saying, it's all about putting the unity in the community. The Pitch Talk family is a community, and we're wide reaching and we're worldwide. So
definitely,
as we always say, it's we the people for the people. You know, as long as you're about pitch talk, as long as you're about the love, listen, you're more than welcome. And enjoy your stay.